Nuts to that.
No, dismiss. Go away. What does it like ask me to insert ads? I've never. Hello and welcome. I am Modern Synthesist, otherwise known as what? What is this ads crap? Sorry, I'm Modern Synthesist, otherwise known as Mr. Pink. This is the Work in Progress Wednesday. You know it's Mr. Pink because he's got a nice pink mat. Look at this new pink mat I got. I've been meaning to get one of these forever, and now I finally have one. La-di-da. Yeah, so this is the Work in Progress Wednesday stream. This is what we do on the weeks that we don't do a creature conference. So I'm joined tonight by my erstwhile companions, Kajan. Want to say good evening, Kajan?
Hi, everyone.
Hi. And Will, Tactical D-Bag. He has many names. Want to say hello? Tactical
Hello.
D-Bag Will?
Technically, I have
Hi.
those two names, but yeah, sure.
Oh. Oh, well, you sound like a man of mystery when I say you have many names. Oh my god, I have so many boxes here. I'm just clicking around. Yeah, so this is usually we just talk random hobby nonsense, but this week we actually have a topic that we wanted to talk about, which is you can see an icon like over there in the bottom right hand corner. Green STFU worst. Inspired by one of the worst companies in miniature whatever art gaming stuff. A certain Spanish company that just keeps getting their sticking their foot in it over and over again. So we're of course talking about Green Stuff World, and recently, I think was it last week? I think it was last
Sometime
week.
last week.
They they pulled some fresh nonsense, and there's even more fresh nonsense happening recently to try and shore up their last week's fresh nonsense. So the beauty of this random Wednesday night stream, people don't know this, but our very own Tactical D-Bag. Tactical D-Bag, do you want to explain your relationship with IP and copyright and stuff?
Uh,
Vaguely, in a non-doxy way?
uh, I think we can just sufficiently say that I work generally in IP, particularly in patents. So I'm kind of fairly like decently versed in at least patent stuff and have at least sort of probably a little bit more understanding of just IP generally than probably most people do, because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions that often I
A
think.
lot of armchair IP lawyering that goes on the internet, you say?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Oh, hey, I think we got Darth Bob in.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Darth Bob arrived right around Modern Synthesis time.
Oh, lovely.
I just got here myself. Yeah, so we're just talking about how Will's specialty in patent copyright stuff and how that might be useful to talk about Green Stuff World.
Ah, lovely. Everyone's favorite company.
Sorry, Will, continue.
Yeah, well, so that's the background, and I guess if I'm gonna go on, I do need to make a caveat that nothing I say is legal advice, and anything I convey here is just my personal understanding and opinions of my understanding of IP law. So I would not treat this as like
Business advice.
yeah, just general
legal advice.
just general disclaimers there. I'm not speaking in representation of anybody, and these are just my personal opinions and thoughts on
Yes,
stuff.
and your opinion is far more informed than our opinion, so we're definitely interested. I guess before we do that, we should mention that Kajan will be dutifully monitoring the chat for us, so if anyone wants to contribute, have ideas they want to share, please post it up in the chat, and Kajan will make sure we don't ramble too much and that we get to those. And then also to introduce Darth Bob, who's here with us. Where's the... Oh, there's
Hello, everyone.
hello, Darth Bob. Oh, Darth Bob, we're doing Jacob Dwarfenage was like, you guys don't need to put the chat on screen because everyone can see it on YouTube anyway. So
Cool.
we're trying no chat on screen. We'll see how that goes.
Nice.
In case you're wondering where it is. I wonder if I should like I'm gonna try and break things so people can see who's talking. I do. Discord video. Hold on. Nope, it's not what I want. Oh, that is not the thing. Whoops. Oh, here we go. That's what I'm looking for. Try to do a cheeky little thing here.
I am working on the Talent Horror tonight.
Ooh, sweet.
Whoa! Blast from the past. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, she's almost done, so like I feel like I'm in the home
shit.
stretch. So I should just like
Gone and done
finish
it.
her.
Damn it, I've gone and done it. I deleted Will's video.
Oh no.
If you haven't been on the stream before, I screw shit up all the time. All the time. Discord video. Oh god, name is already in use. Ah. Okay. Where is Will's video? It's on it. That's it. I got it. I found it.
Is hidden.
It's a Christmas miracle.
So while I'm faffing about with this, why don't you guys talk about what you've been doing in the hobby for the last week? Starting with Kajan. Since you said that you finished all kinds of stuff before we started.
I've been still working on debasing for my own version of the Screamer Killer, and basically doing some terrain bits and pieces here and there. Yeah, that's. I didn't get to do much. Still have the problem with my backyard and stuff because of the storm
Oh
damage.
no, still? Oh,
Yeah, we had to take another tree down, and because it was threatening to crash onto the neighbor's yard, and then the neighbor, the street across, had to have the emergency services around because a tree from a really big branch from their tree broke off and stuff like that, and.
damn.
Yeah, it's a bad weather summer. Yeah, it's either bad storms or heat wave, and right now we're going into the next heat wave.
Oh man, I have a friend who is heading to France, and I said to her, I'm like, I hope that the heat wave is sorted by the time you get there, because
I
it's
hope
super hot.
I hope for him he isn't flying where all the bad fires are. I mean, they have bad
In
fires.
France?
In the south, there are bad fires.
Oh, she's driving all over the place. She's going to Carcassonne. I didn't even know Carcassonne was a place. I thought it was just a board game. Apparently it's based on a real place.
I don't know.
Cool castles.
I don't know exactly where the fires are, but I saw a news report about it 2 days ago about really bad fires with the usual pictures where everything is smoke and fire and stuff.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah,
Everything's a fiery hellscape.
Yeah, it's really bad in Arizona right now.
As my non-queen expressed it the other day, everything is on fire these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw
like
pictures,
Northwest Territories here is on fire.
Yeah, I saw pictures of people's trash cans in their front lawn are melting in Arizona. It's so hot down there.
Plastic or metal?
Plastic.
I think we would
apparently
have
there was some
strong concerns if metal trash cans were melting.
No, but wasn't that the thing in Maui?
Yeah, but they had like
fire was so hot they were melting.
I think Arizona's just like hot, like stupidly hot, right? Or did you say there was fires?
Oh, okay. It's not burning in Arizona. It's just hot.
No, it's just so the ambient temperature is like getting up to 100.
Well, that's a little scarier.
125 degrees.
Okay, I thought the fires were melting trash cans. I'm like,
no.
So what? They're melting plastic trash cans. The heat is melting. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my.
People's pools are evaporating.
Hey, can I get odds on global warming? Can anyone? Do you think people might start believing in this shit now? Climate change.
Nope.
It's real. It's real.
Nope.
Oh,
unfortunately, I've seen too many people already expressing that it's not real, or if it's real, that it's not man-made, but just the normal way Earth is.
It's Arizona.
So,
Arizona's hot.
oh my god. I finally got on, I got on Blue Sky. I got like an invite code for it because I'm like, maybe this will be better than whatever Twitter has descended into. And there was someone on Blue Sky posting about how like there's all the, when you search like the Maui fires on Twitter right now, you get all these like right-wing conspiracies about heat rays destroying the whole island so that it can be replaced by a 15-minute city, and it's such a
Heat
mess.
rays. Oh, what? It's like lasers coming from a satellite or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, of course.
Was that Laura Boebert? Was
Lasers.
she the one with the lasers from the satellites?
Yes, I'm
I
sure.
can't remember what her name is. I can't keep them all straight.
Where does that rank? I mean, the last I heard was FEMA death camps. So
Well, I don't know. Okay, sorry. This is a bit of a tangent, but yeah, it's hot, man. I hope people are safe. I hope people are okay because there's some wildfire stuff happening all over the world, and I feel like I don't remember seeing this quite this globally. So I'm hoping that it might help people wake up, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kajan, you did a little bit of hobby this week. You did a lot of real life stuff.
yeah.
Anything else that you wanted to mention?
No, not particularly. I mean,
Okay.
other stuff was D&D prep and stuff like that. So nobody cares about
That's
that.
exciting. That's exciting. And Darth Bob, what was your weekend hobby like?
Well, as far as like active hobby stuff, I mostly was just like cleaning mold lines off of Leviathan stuff. So
I think
nothing
they could have
super
fixed that
exciting.
by now, eh?
Yeah, I wish. It's literally my least favorite part of the hobby. So
Yeah.
I feel like I spend so much time on it, and then half the time I fully assemble a model, and I go to prime it, and oh, there's a mold line. I missed it.
When you're removing mold lines, do you use one of these suckadogs?
I can't see your camera quite yet.
Oh, sorry. The Citadel Hobby Line Scraper.
Oh, I used to use one of those, but then I found the blade got dull too quickly, so I just switched to just using the regular traditional X-Acto blade knife.
Oh, this
I
thing's
did.
still going strong. But then I got an actual scalpel blade, and it's pretty hot. I've never used an actual scalpel blade
I
before.
like the tool. I think the tool is really well designed. I kind of wish they would design it with replaceable blades, but then, GW,
Yeah.
the replacement blades would probably be ridiculously expensive anyways.
Well, I'm sure you could get someone to like sharpen it for you.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know how you do it. You'd have to like sharpen the flat parts, I guess.
Yeah. But I also
With this
If you have a Dremel, you
I
can
mean- I
probably
mean-
do it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
okay.
Dremel would probably do it.
You probably only need some sandpaper and then rub the flat of the blade over the sandpaper to sharpen it. Probably.
Yeah, that might work.
Sweet.
I might have to try that. I still have it. I didn't throw it away. So, and then I also I worked on so I'm developing a website for my Triptych 28 project. So I started.
Yeah, you
working with
posted some crazy video. I mean, not that I'm on Instagram because I'm trying to stay off Instagram, but I did see a crazy video posted.
Yeah, so the video, I got annoyed with Instagram because like I posted it both to the. I've got a separate Instagram specifically for Triptych 28, and then I've got my Darth Bob Miniatures Instagram. I posted it to both, but when I posted it to my main Instagram, it got all scurry. Like a bunch of the effects weren't working the way I wanted them to, and so I just deleted the video
weird.
because I was pissed off at Instagram. But I might re-upload it. I got to figure out what the hell's going on with Instagram Reels and stuff. It's been acting the whole application's been acting really buggy on my phone recently, and I think that might be because my phone's so old, but I don't know.
You have an Android or an iPhone?
I have an iPhone, but it's like iPhone 6 era iPhone.
Okay, I don't really speak iPhone. I have an Android. But
It's like from 2014. It's a pretty old iPhone.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
Disgustingly old.
Yeah. So
does the Instagram boycott have any reason behind it, or just
the Instagram boycott? It's because they shut off news for my whole country. You can't find any news on Facebook, Instagram. You can't post any news on Facebook, Instagram. Sorry, I've been ranting about this for a little while now. I feel like I need to post something on my Instagram about it, but yeah, our government passed a not amazing. Sorry, I've talked about this. I feel like on a bunch of streams, so I don't want to get too far into it. But our government passed a not amazing law where the gist of it is that Facebook, Google, you have so much advertising money. local publications can no longer advertise because why would people bother buying ads from newspapers, digital or print, when they can just advertise online? Because you have effectively a monopoly on online advertising, you should share some of your advertising revenue with content creators because they're the ones who put content on your platform, i.e. newspapers. Similar to what was tried in Australia a few years ago. And both Facebook and Google are like, no, we're not going to play this game. We're just going to take news off our platforms. So you can't post or find news on any meta platforms. In fact, even like foreign news sources are blocked. Like I can't find like Guardian. I can't find Al Jazeera. Like it doesn't exist. So yeah, last time they did this to Australia, I deleted my Facebook. Even though it like they threatened it in Australia for a bit and then they kind of like pulled their punch or whatever. They reached some kind of agreement. But yeah, so that was when I deleted my Facebook, but now they're doing it to Canada and I don't feel like I want to delete my Instagram yet. But I also don't feel like I want to post on Instagram right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for the boycott. Because if Facebook gets pissed off at you, they can just turn off whatever data they want to your country, and I think that's a little messed up. So instead, I've been like sometimes posting on like my YouTube community page, and I've been I feel like I mentioned this before. I feel like I haven't been hobbying as much because like posting to Instagram kind of like motivates me to sometimes to do hobby, which probably isn't a great thing, but yeah. So, but the hobbying I have been doing rather exciting. I've been I don't know how much I want to say yet, but I've been collaborating with a certain friend of ours who is helping me to get my shit together when it comes to video in a way better than what I've been doing on my own. By providing some amazing support on editing. So I am really hoping that I will be putting out many more videos very soon.
Very cool.
So stay tuned for that.
Woo.
Huh?
Woo.
Woo! Woo is right. Woo, I say, and woo again. So
I will be
yeah,
right back. I'm gonna go wash my hands. I've got
good plan.
epoxy sculpt gunk all over them.
Oh, you should keep a little water thing beside you and a
I
towel.
do, but then I use that to moisturize my fingers when I'm mixing the putty, so then it gets the stuff in it, so it doesn't really work as a washing washing tool.
Oh, works fine for me. I'm just a mess. Yeah, so I've been doing a little bit of hobby this week, but not a ton. I've been more focusing on like logistics and back end crap rather than actual like putty on model work. But I'm trying to get a little bit of putty on model work here on a model that I haven't touched in a long time. This is my it's supposed to be a red terror. Yes, I know it doesn't exist anymore. I don't care. This is inspired by a really cool conversion that Hydra did with Parasite Mortrex, making it into a creepy worm thing. So that's what I'm doing here. Oh, and folks in the chat, let us know what you've been doing in the hobby this week. Doing anything cool? We want to hear about it. So I kind of jumped in there. Will, what have you been hobbying on?
Honestly, the last 2 weeks have been kind of slow, mostly because I bought Baldur's Gate 3, and that has occupied some of my time. But right now I'm working on my Screamer Killer that I've been very negligent at working on, and working on my weird little sniper lictor that I've been working on.
Cool. Nice. And but how is Baldur's Gate 3?
It's pretty fun. I must say, and I think this is like making me feel old, but like I don't have the energy to just like sit down and just play games for like hours on end. And I think also because save scumming is appropriate, or possible rather. Sometimes it's like, oh, that roll is terrible. I want to retry that again.
I did a lot of that with XCOM.
Yeah.
I didn't have patience for stuff. I would just save scum the heck out of it.
Yeah. There's a bit of that going on, but which slowing the game down. But so far, I'm still relatively early into the game, but it's pretty fun. Characters are interesting, and I'm excited to get more you know, into the game, so to speak.
Have you gotten any hobby inspiration from it yet?
No, but I guess I haven't. I mean, like, hilariously, the game starts off in a mind flayer ship, which I'm not really going to
Ship?
spoil her because
Like
that's
a
like
boat?
literally, sort of. But and Kachin and I were talking about it before the stream started, because we are talking about the Death Leaper and how
How
Kajan
it's a mind
and
flayer?
yeah, I mean it's very mind flayer-y. So
So I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons other than what I've experienced in my very short campaign so far and what Stranger Things have taught me. And even I know that the Death Leaper looks like a mind flayer with shit all experience.
Yeah, I mean, I said it too well earlier. I just can't not see it when I look at it with the cape thingy. It just looks like a mind flayer
Because
to
doesn't
me.
it
And
don't the mind flayers even have like a weird collar thing that they wear?
they sure do.
Yeah, it's got that too.
yeah, it's basically a mind flayer with a additional set of arms.
Admittedly, pretty dope looking set of arms, but
All the
Yeah,
better to flay your mind with.
I mean, I don't mind it. I think, or
You don't mind it? You don't mind it, you
yep.
say? Ha 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 ha. I see what you did there. Ha ha.
But yeah, it's hard for me not to see it because I mean I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 20 odd years, and
Yep.
it's hard to see it as a Tyranid for me. That's yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so far into D&D that I can't still see it as a Tyranid. But hopefully when it comes out that you can convert it in a way that makes it less distracting.
Yeah,
Or
here's
do you
hoping.
not even want to get it because it's so
uh,
offensive to you?
we'll probably will get it at some point.
Yeah.
But it's not high on the list of priorities right now for me.
What's highest on your list of priorities?
The Neurotyrant. No, not Neurotyrant. The flying,
Norn?
the non, yeah, the non emissary. I think that's the name.
Oh, okay.
I'm bad with names. Sorry.
That's fine. So that's highest on your list. Highest on my list is the Lictors.
Those
Oh,
lictors are
I'm
badass.
super excited about those
I
lictors.
have heard some very good things about those kits.
I just love that they got so many posing options.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like they're going to be a smorgasbord for the bits and the senses.
Yeah,
S-
I'm very much looking forward to seeing all those kits and what can be used.
Yep. Great.
As
Anyone in the chat sharing what they're
mm,
working on?
I mean, Symbiote Joe said he made a commercial about what he's been doing, so I have no idea.
You made a commercial?
Yeah, he said I even made a commercial about what I've been doing.
It's on Instagram?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Nor do I.
And otherwise, it was mostly talking about mold line scraping tools, and
What do people have to say about those?
well, Symbiote Joe was making jokes about it being a scraper made from a bigger scraper, and a mold line scraping tool made from a steel folded 1,000 times.
Oh,
Then
okay.
Keplinger said a fancy Damascus scraper.
Nice.
So yeah, then Keplinger also said he's been using mostly his wood carving tools to cut off mold lines.
Yeah,
And
Dan Kaplinger has got super tools for the job.
You know what I'd prefer than a Damascus steel mold scraping tool? I'd prefer
What?
a company that after 40 some years of miniature production can figure out how to produce plastic bottles that don't have mold lines all over them.
Yeah, that'd be great. I hear they do it in Japan.
Yeah.
Do Bandai kits have mold lines?
No. They
Didn't
have
think
the
so.
they have the little sprue gates, but they don't have mold
Yo,
lines.
speaking of sprue gates and Bandai kits, has anyone seen? Hold on, bear with. Has anyone seen one of these sucker dogs?
One of these,
Mm.
your
Oh, you
videos
guys
will-
are delayed. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what I've got
one-
here is a miniature of the month from Games Workshop. It is one of the Space Marine Flamer dudes that I got for free. It's on round sprue. It looks like Bandai.
Oh yeah, so Bandai actually did do those blind packs of the Space Marine heroes were actually done by
They did?
I don't know if it was by Bandai, but they were made in Japan, and so they are
Oh, that's why they sell them in
rounded
Japan.
plastic. Yep.
Spoiler
Oh.
alert, these guys still have mold lines.
Oh,
They're small, but they have... I was just so weird to get it and be like, what the heck? Because I thought that I have those Nurgle guys here, and I thought they were on square sprue, not round sprue, but maybe I'm wrong.
I know the Terminators because I had a couple of the Terminators, the Blood Angel Terminator ones. They did come on round sprues as well. And then didn't they do?
Okay.
They did like some they had like I forget what the game was called, but it was like a little game where you got like a couple of Space Marines in the kit, and they were like a bunch of different wacky colors, like plastic colors. Like there was purple ones and blue ones, and orange
Oh,
ones.
some Combat Arena something or other? Isn't that their
Yeah,
like go-to for like all
yeah,
these weird games? Combat Arena such and such?
yeah, and they were on round sprues as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, I've been behind the times. Right, I'm obsessing over these armor plates. So now that we've caught up on everyone's hobbiness for the week, maybe we should get to the topic of the stream, which is talking about nonsense from Green Stuff World.
Oh joy.
What do you think, Will? You ready? Will, are you even here?
God damn it, I muted myself. Yeah, no.
Did we lose Will? There we go.
If you want to like do a rundown of the recent video thing, because I sort of
Well,
don't remember all of the details of
okay,
like what.
so Kajan, what do you have? An
Yeah,
idea?
I think that's where we should start. I mean, not everybody, probably not everybody that's watching this video, this stream video, will be up to date what has been happening.
Okay, so maybe I should give a deeper rundown of why Green Stuff World is the worst, in case you've been under a rock and not been paying attention to me screaming it from the tops of buildings. There is a video that I created that kind of sums this all up if you want to watch it in video format. Kajan, if you could be a dear and find the link to that on my YouTube and post it in the comments, would appreciate it. If you go to like my recent videos, it's like a few... I posted around December, so it'll be like before all the like Leviathan
I'll
videos.
find it.
Thank you. Yeah, so in that video, I detail a bunch of stuff. It's not like I'm not some kind of like super sleuth on this. This is something the community, these are things the community has been documenting for years now. One of the first incidents that really like broke about Green Stuff World being terrible was with Tabletop Workshop. Is another YouTube channel, a German YouTube channel, and Tabletop Workshop did an amazing video. Maybe we can link to that as well if Kajan can find it, and put it in the chat, and maybe send it to me in our Discord, Kajan, so I can remember to put the stuff on the video after. So Tabletop Workshop documented a situation where Bees Putty Stefan, if you've ever heard of Bees Putty, Darth Bob, close your ears. Bees Putty Stefan is this hobbyist sculptor dude who created his own tentacle roller, and it's the full details are in the video from Tabletop Workshop. But basically, he created this tentacle roller, and then Green Stuff World went and created the exact same tentacle roller, got a patent for it, and basically patented it out from under Bees Putty Stefan. And like all the receipts for this are in that Tabletop Workshop video. So that was one of the first things they did. That was pretty crappy. And they've done other stuff like Canadian artist, or I guess she owns a FLGS. Her name is Sword and Steel. She did a review. This is the one that really like got on my radar. She did a review of Vallejo color shifter paints. And you know, she bought the paints. She was just reviewing them, whatever. She wasn't like paid by Vallejo. They didn't send them to her or anything. But what happened is that Vallejo and Green Stuff World were like in a fight over the term color shift, because Green Stuff World once again patented this thing, despite the fact that Vallejo had like created paints with this name, and they were like fighting over this. And Green Stuff World went out of their way and they got a copyright strike against Sword and Steel, this like kind of like independent, not super huge YouTuber. And like copyright strikes are really serious on your YouTube channel. Like if you've spent like years building up a YouTube channel and you get a copyright strike, it's like death. Like it's scary. So they just like callously sent one of these against this person who wasn't like very big at all. Fortunately, she posted about it and the community really rallied around her. And Green Stuff World kind of apologized, sort of. And then, but they were like, oh, but can you still take down your video? And she's like, no, I'm going to leave up my video because this is a bit sketchy. And like, not to mention, as I like hint at in the video that I made, there's like this other large company that has the color shift paints. Can't remember what they're called. They're called like Artist Opus. No, Artist Opus is the miniature thing. Anyway, it's something like culture. I don't know. It's in my video. So they're definitely being selective about this. That they're going after like these small time content creators on YouTube who review these paints for miniature purposes, but they're not like going after these mega companies that have other acrylic paints that are called color shifters. They're only like they're picking their battles. So that was some of the BS. They also have taken miniatures that were painted by artists in the community and just like put them up on their website and use them basically as box art for models that Green Stuff World is selling without asking these artists for their permission. Afterwards, they've like or crediting them. Yeah, they don't credit them. They don't ask for their permission. And then afterwards, they like go, "Oh, we're so sorry. Oh yeah, well we definitely figured it all out with the artists. We're paying them now or something. Blah blah blah." But they don't bother doing that until they get caught. There are allegations that Green Stuff World refuses to sell to people with Asian-sounding names. It's unclear why they're doing something stupid like that, but this has been like reported several times. There's some stipulation that it's because they're worried about Chinese companies copying their products or something like that, which is really weird because Green Stuff World sells a whole bunch of crap that you can just get on AliExpress for very much cheaper than what they sell it for. And this has been documented with many of their products. And God, I'm probably missing like 13 things in here. Basically a really shady company, very shady company that is not worried about ripping off ideas from other people, is not worried about like swinging like big copyright hoo-ha around. There's allegations that they're I don't know how true this is, but like I've heard from people in Spain that Green Stuff World is based in the part of Spain where there's like an office for like copyright for the EU. And there's some stipulation that they may be like in tight with those people. They might have like friends who work there or something like that. That's unfounded. I don't know anything about that. That's just like reports that I've heard. But yeah, on the note of copyright hoo-ha nonsense and of random crap made in China, for a few months now, Green Stuff World has been selling this brush rinser thing. It's a piece of garbage. Everyone who reviews it says it's a piece of garbage. It breaks. It doesn't work very well. It's plastic crap. And you can, without very much effort at all, find out that this thing is sold on Alibaba, on Temu, on all those like direct from Japan cheap plastic sites where you can get stuff. It's available on all those. This like patented Green Stuff World brush rinser. And yet, a company called WIP Miniatures. So Hellstorm Gaming did the video on this recently. You can check out the Hellstorm Gaming video. Kajin, I think I posted it in the community section of my YouTube, if that helps finding the link to that video. Hellstorm Gaming did a video because this other organization called WePrint, I think it's called WePrint Miniatures, I think they like bought some of these brush rinsers from Temu, from Alibaba Express, because they're widely available on the internet. Like you can get them if you want them. Straight from China. They're not anything fancy, like, but Green Stuff World is like claiming that they have a oh god, I'm going to use the wrong words here and Will's going to clean it up. They're claiming they have copyright on the design of this, or IP or something on the design of this this brush rinser, and they're like threatening We Print Miniatures with legal action if they like sell this thing or something like that. Will, maybe I should let you take over. I think I've done enough of a summary. Actually, before Will takes over, is there anything that I missed about Green Stuff World that people want to note? Reports from over the years.
Those are definitely the big ones, and at least the one that Hellstorm Wargaming covers in his video that Kajan very kindly linked in chat.
Thank you, Kajan.
Thank God there's also some. I remember reading some post a while back about they kind of mistreat their employees too. Don't pay
Oh
them
wow!
very well.
So they're just classy all over the place.
Yeah, like they're not even good to the people that are actually, working for them, much less people that don't.
And like whenever they get caught in one of these things, they pull all this nonsense. Oh, we're just a small we're just a small family-owned, blah blah blah. We're just doing the best we can, blah blah blah. And like, they do some pretty calculating stuff. What's that?
Small indie company.
Yeah, they do some pretty calculating stuff for like a small indie company. Not to mention they're basically like trying to like monopolize certain areas of the hobby. Like my buddy who lives in Spain has told me that you basically can't buy green stuff in Spain anymore from anyone other than Green Stuff World, because they've kind of like cornered the market and like wrestled everyone else out of it. So that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Will has taken some time, thank you, Will, to look into this latest thing that Hellstorm Gaming brought up, highlighted from We Print Miniatures. And because Will has cool experience in these areas, I'm excited to hear what he discovered and what he thinks about it.
Okay. So I guess the first thing that needs to be sort of addressed about IP law, and if you kind of go back with no meaning to disparage Mr. Pink,
I don't know shit.
there's a
Disparage away.
lot of conflating of terms here, and like they're legally speaking, there are three very distinct kind of IP. Major IP laws or kind of types of intellectual property. So the first one that most people know about is copyright, right? So like that's for protection usually of creative works. So if you write a book, well, really write or publish anything, or you make some artistic kind of product that is usually covered under copyright. That's the one that I think, when you hear about copyright laws and, people complaining about Mickey Mouse, that's usually copyright kind of stuff.
So like Games Workshop, Chapter House, copyright?
Sort of, because they were sort of...
Oh, because they're actual products.
Because they were copying essentially the design philosophies of some of the GW stuff. But admittedly, copyright is still it is still weird. There's a lot of rules regarding it. I'm not like super familiar with it, so I don't really want to spread a lot of information. Like there's a certain, and then there's certain like leniences you get with copyright. People are probably familiar with like the idea of like
artistic license, artistic interpretation, or
sort of like modification of the copyright. So like kind of what we do, like kit bashing
for commentary, right, or whatever.
That also, like you're allowed to kind of use copyrights to a certain extent for in other people's copyrights.
Is it transformative?
Transformative.
Sorry,
is, I think,
this is Will, the copyright expert, talks copyright, and Mr. Pink, the copyright idiot, throws out words that he's heard.
I do want to point that I'm not a copyright expert. I just
sorry.
I'm copyright adjacent.
Adjacent.
Just because again, the IPs work differently. With copyrights, there's some wiggle room in terms of like transformative work. So like to a certain extent, our kit bashing is a sort of transformative work, as far as I understand. Especially in audio, visual media, satire and stuff, parody, of other people's copyrights.
And like, because I've heard of like Game of Thrones creators on YouTube, like they do commentary. Like they're allowed to like take screenshots and stuff like that because they're doing like critical commentary on the work.
So that kind of stuff is under what's covered under copyright. And that's the one that's probably bandied about the most. But copyright is very different from the other two pieces of IP, which are patents, which I'll get into a little bit more detail, and trademarks. And trademarks are basically a designation, a registered designation of the origin of goods. So basically, it's the reason why Coca-Cola, you're not technically supposed to call any type of soda Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola, right? So the purpose of that is that, if you are a company with a reputation, somebody, pushing, let's say Coca-Cola, somebody can't come in, start calling their soda Coca-Cola, it's garbage quality, because then, they're relying on the good name of this other company, to sell their goods, and like they're going to diminish the quality of, the brand identity. So to a certain extent, with at least as trademarks, I think you can, so long as you've got the business, you can essentially maintain it in perpetuity, so long as like your business is essentially still active, as far as I'm aware. But the problem is and this has come up.
This came up. Mickey Mouse now?
No, although basically the mouse is involved in a lot of stuff. But in terms of trademarks, like I'm trying. Oh boy, actually, when we go back to that color shifting,
yes,
story,
where they had color shift paints.
Yeah, that's actually a
Vallejo
trademark
had
issue.
color shift paints. Okay.
That was a trademark issue. They had trademarked paint products called Color Shift. So like, as far as the Spanish market was concerned at the time, if you were selling a product in the EU, I think I need to check on how far the protections and stuff goes. You could not sell a similar product under that name, because that you're undermining their trademark. And in terms of like, and GW had been doing that, the infamous suing over like the art, like the lady who had some story called Space Marine. Yeah, because they had trademarked Space Marine. So and if you don't defend your trademarks, you eventually lose them. So there are a couple of famous cases of things that started taking the common parlance, and people just called that everything of that name. By
Kleenex.
Kleenex has actually been fighting back for it. So now technically it'd be a tissue. Kleenex is a specifically trademarked brand. Band-Aid is a specifically trademark brand of a self-adhesive bandage.
Yes.
Escalators.
But these are things that have come into like parlance. Like,
but again, but that's the thing. You shouldn't be using, like, if the trademark is valid, you shouldn't be using the brand name identity. You should be using the thing. Velcro, that is a trademark. Hook and loop fastener is the common parlance of that type.
Yeah, but people use it, right?
Yeah, but from a manufacturing standpoint, like, and Velcro does defend it. Like it's, if you purchase non-Velcro brand stuff, it's a hook and loop fastener. Like, just because, like, a lot of people commonly use it, they will correct you. Zamboni.
If you were creating a product, you wouldn't want to use that word.
You
Like,
would
if you were
probably get a trademark like cease and desist,
okay, there we go.
which is what happened with the color shifting. But like escalators, that was originally a brand name, but they never protected it. So
Oh,
now it's common.
damn.
It's a moving stairwell.
Yeah.
Zipper was I don't even actually know what the traditional generic name for it is, but like they never fought it. Xerox, as my friend Andrew just commented, is actually still fought for. That's still trademarked. Facsimile or photocopying machine, I believe, is the generic term for that. So like there's a lot like Zamboni. Like Zamboni actively.
Yo, Zamboni, now you're speaking my language. No
Yeah,
one outside of Canada knows what a Zamboni is.
that is an ice resurfacer. If it's not a
Yeah.
Zamboni brand ice resurfacer, you call it an ice resurfacer.
Okay.
And like that's how trademarks work essentially. So
Yeah.
the one caveat with the color shift saga that you mentioned earlier is that they did do a Green Stuff World did do a copyright takedown, which, in my opinion, was an improper. Like they were definitely abusing that system. Like they don't
When
have
they
a
did it to Sword and
copyright.
Steel?
Yeah, because they don't have a copyright. Copyrights and trademarks are two completely legal
Ah,
issues. So like because they said that was a copyright violation, which is just on its face incorrect. But YouTube tends to default to just doing the takedown.
do it. Yeah.
So that's the distinction there for trademarks. Now patents, which is where I work in, basically that's the that's supposed to give you a limited monopoly on something that you've invented, and there are three main classes of invention. So like a method of doing something, so a process, a machine, or an article of manufacture. So that's usually like certain like new materials or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's another class of inventions, patents that you can get that it's less known, but like I remember when the last bit of Green Stuff World came about, I think there was some belief that it was sort of an obscure bit of patent law, which
The
I guess
last bit, what are you talking about? You mean the most recent one?
I
What do you
think
mean? Are you talking about a different thing?
I think it was. I might have come up with the after the last hubbub with the color shift stuff, when people were kind of going back and seeing like the history of Green Stuff World and everything. But there's such a thing as a design patent, which is basically a very specific patent you get for like the overall look and shape and appearance of a specific product, and it's actually like a lot more specific than people tend to give. And the main thing here with all of this stuff with Green Stuff World is that they get design patents. So basically, and keeping in mind that I have no actual firm information about the timing of who invented what and whatnot. My understanding, at least with regard to what I've come up with, what I've seen for design patents in terms of the European Patent Office law, is that it's essentially first come, first serve. So whoever files the first patent gets it, which seems kind of crazy at first, but there are rules regulating what can and cannot be patented. There, you usually have to basically have a whole series of diagrams and sort of drawings to basically dictate almost exactly what your thing looks like for a design patent.
I think I've seen these for Nintendo. People will like show that Nintendo has like filed a patent for something, and they show the like these design drawings. Maybe that's something different.
Well, design drawings are sort of for all patents. Kind of the drawings are necessary / helpful for understanding, what the inventions are. But specifically for design patents, the protections you get are almost exclusively based off of like these drawings and figures that you provide. Because again, it's pretty much for giving you protections for design of products to a certain extent.
Can maybe jump in here real quick.
Yeah, please.
My mother had a company. She's retired now, but she had a company doing metalworking. We would do cranes, which you not the really big ones, construction cranes, but cranes you would put onto a level to set up a wall or stuff like that. So they're rather small cranes, and they had patented the controls, which were radio controls, was pretty innovative back in the 90s to have that. And the way it worked is that you had to file the exact layout, and someone else could then also still patent a different layout. If it was basically, it would be doing the same thing, but you could patent a specific way to do it. So our way to do it is device A, B, C, and it gets this and that result, and nobody would then be able to do it this way without infringing on your patent. But it doesn't. But someone else could come in and say, okay,
DCBA or something.
Yeah, and still have the same effect. It's also important to know that the patent, at least here in Europe or in Germany, you don't get an international patent when you go to the patent office. So I'm not sure how that is in the USA, but we have to apply for an international patent separately. It's a whole different process. So you have one for the European Union, and since we are in this trade union, it's applicable everywhere. At least that's my understanding of it. And if you want to go beyond that, you have to go to through separate processes, and it also costs different amounts of money.
So to bunny hop on that, Kajan is correct that for the most part you do file essentially at your native patent office areas. The EPO, so the European Patent Office, does cover member nations. It's not necessarily the EU because the Great Britain is still part of the EPO. Even though technically they're not, part of the European Union, and there are different rules for slightly different rules of how to approach things between the U.S. and the, how the European Patent Office works and how the Japanese or the Chinese patent offices work. But there are like a sort of there's patent cooperation treaties a bunch from between a bunch of different countries where you can file basically an internationally recognized patent between the different nations. But
Members.
as Kachin said, it is an additional process. You have to do that in addition to filing within your individual countries, or you can just file just internationally. But
Okay.
you essentially you get, for the most part, if you're just filing in your country, you're gonna get mostly protection in wherever you're filing. So like if you file a US patent, you only get protections in the US. If you only file in the EPO, you're only going to get protections in the EPO. Like those,
Yeah.
they're not necessarily going to transfer over, so to speak. And to Kajan's point about the radio controller thing for the cranes, again, this
Yeah.
kind of comes down a little bit to the difference between design patents, which are almost purely a visual kind of restriction on like how a product is kind of looks to a certain
Yeah.
extent. Or is built, and there's a distinction between that and the utility patents, which again are the processes, the machine patents and stuff, which do give you coverage over specific ways of processes of doing something, or specific machines for doing something.
Okay.
And if you look through any patent documents, which I know lots of people are probably super excited to look up right now.
Raring to do.
Actually, if you go to Google Patents, like you can look up a bunch of patents.google.com. You can actually just
What?
troll
Cool.
around. Like they publish all of the patent document, at least U.S. patent documents, and you can just like search for an idea and you can find whatever patents are there. But the most important thing is that for utility style patents, which I'm more familiar with, basically the thing usually has what is called like the disclosure or the specification, which like is the sort of general discussion of what explaining what the your patent is supposed to be about, what your invention is about. You have
Yeah.
figures, so you have drawings to help clarify and elucidate what your invention is. And the most important thing, and this thing is what a lot of people don't really get, is that there's this section of the patent called the claims. Those are actually the legal basically the legal document legally defining what your invention is. And those are the words that are used to legally set the boundaries of what you are entitled to for protection. So and like everything that's in those claims has to be present in somebody else's thing for that to be infringement.
Okay.
And again, design patents are a little bit weirder because like the drawings that they provide with the design patent, those essentially are your claims. So like your design has to be that essentially.
Okay.
So
Is that kind of what Kajin was describing with the layout of the?
I'd have to see what kind of patents they
Sorry.
had.
Okay. Maybe we should bring this back to Greenslick World. I feel like we've kind of led you astray.
I have a
Well,
quick
all
question.
of this is kind of important to just like
Oh
understand.
yeah, question.
Like
I
the
have a quick
patent stuff.
question. So, I'm a little confused on exactly how all this stuff, whether it's copyright, trademark, or patents, how this works internationally. Like, what happens if a country is basically like, fuck off, we're not gonna, you know, acknowledge your
Of
patent.
course.
And in Russia, they're just like, we have our own Coca-Cola that's completely unrelated to
Oh,
the
that's
actual.
That's what's
entirely what
happening right
happens.
now.
You need to file like if you want protections as a company in other countries, you just need to file stuff. There's like legitimately a Russian McDonald's that's not affiliated at all, I believe, with the McDonald's here.
Yeah.
because
Oh,
somebody's
really?
like, yeah,
Whoa.
this American company called McDonald's is super popular. I'm going to start one too. And it's just like,
Well, no, I heard that with the whole Ukraine thing, a lot of Western companies like abandon their stuff, and
Yeah,
that Russian
they
companies
put
just
out.
like picked up the McDonald's assets and was like, okay, cool, we're gonna make like McRuskies or whatever. There was a like
Huh.
a little video documentary on it I saw, and like
Yeah,
yeah,
Starbucks too. Like they just took over the Starbucks
and
and called it
that's
something else.
also
Same logo, basically.
That's also what you have happening in China. China has basically no copyright laws. That's why you have all those knockoffs coming out of China
Is that
because
true? Well, do they have no copyright laws? This is what I've heard, but I don't know how
I'm
accurate it
pretty
is.
sure they have them. I can't really attest to.
I mean
I
I'm
can't
sh-
really make
Okay.
a statement either which way just because I don't really have any actual information. So any comments I would say
Right.
would be
I
hearsay and just like conjecture. So like I don't
I'm
not gonna make a statement on that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they have laws for within the country, but they don't recognize international stuff. That's why, uh, at least that's my understanding of the situation.
Should
Which
we?
is why they have sent people over to take pictures of your local restaurant and go back home and basically copy it.
Yeah. So
It's part of the culture
So
over there.
to answer Darth
Well,
Bob's comment, basically there's nothing necessarily stopping somebody from an outside area to like an outside country from basically copying your stuff.
Gotcha. So is that
Uh,
how, like, circling back to miniature stuff, like, is that how companies like, um, I don't know, any of the tons of third-party bits makers or people making totally not Space Marines. A lot of them are like, what's that one company, Liber Demonica, who makes like all those accessories that they blatantly call, you know, um, Thousand Suns Leviathan Dreadnought conversion kit, et cetera, et
I
cetera.
don't
And
know this one. Okay.
they just like make tons of very clear Games Workshop intellectual property stuff. But is it because Games Workshop hasn't registered those IPs in Russia? Are they just not able to defend it?
probably not. If they don't have the copyright or like patents or whatever in that country, they can't really do it. But like, uh, so more specifically to patents, it limits the production or use of a patent in the country that it's protected under. So it doesn't give you blanket worldwide, right?
Right.
Uh, to a certain extent, the internet makes things a little bit dodgy just because um, you know
Of course.
it's international. Like so, in terms of I think for stuff like that, like they can shut down the sale, or like I don't know, tell them that they can't access that website from like the UK or whatever, to the best
Okay.
of my knowledge. But like they if they don't have any protections in like Russia or wherever the hell this is, like I mean they can't do anything. It's a different jurisdiction. Like um
Interesting.
Okay. Should we bring this back to Green Stuff World
yeah.
since that's
So
like our topic?
well I so the thing that the biggest thing that I wanted to kind of comment on um is that and this came up in the Hellstorm video, and my buddy Andrew is kind of alluding to a point that I'm gonna get to in a minute here. The only comment from that video that and I think he was citing some other like commentary um, that about design patents is they said that the thing with design patents is that it's a matter of form and essentially so like all they check for is that like the paperwork is done to provide give you the design patent and
Mm-hmm.
nothing I found suggests that that allegation is true, um, at like and mostly because I know it doesn't work that way in the U.S. Side of things, so I can't imagine it's vastly different, in the EPO. And from what I could dig, and I'm going to quote the rule specifically for design patents in the EPO is a design shall be protected by a community design to the extent that it is new and has individual character. So there are two major requirements to.
Dwarfnage, can you get some headphones on? I think we're getting some feedback. Sorry, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, so there are two major requirements to getting a patent, even for a design patent. So the two standards are novelty and individual character. So what the rules say about novelty is that the design shall be considered to be new if no identical design has been made available to the public before the date at which it was filed. Or basically, if somebody else has designed it in the community but didn't file a patent before, like this design patent was filed, or if anybody else had filed the patent beforehand. So the important kind of term to use there that my buddy uses is the term prior art. Prior art is the fancy term used in the patent world to mean like stuff
Wait. Does it mean first?
No, it just
Those
means
annoying people post online?
things that have been published
okay.
prior to whenever you filed something. So if people have been publishing and selling stuff, that's prior art. If somebody's made something and hid it in their like basement, that wasn't made public, right? So it's anything that has been published where enough reasonable number of people in the community could have found it. That's what's referred as to the art. So in the case of novelty, what they mean is that like it's essentially one for one thing, right? So it's like somebody was selling this exact same thing. So if you design a certain type of shoe, and you applied for a design patent for that specific type of shoe, and somebody designed the exact same thing, you wouldn't be novel. You've just designed the same thing. So, the fact that this is a requirement means that somebody has to like make the search for it. Somebody needs to examine it to see whether or not something similar has existed or exists, right?
Yeah.
And the second statute requirement is that there's an individual character. So what I take that to mean, and the kind of equivalent terminology that I think they use in the EPO for utility style patents is inventiveness. And what we use in the United States is called obviousness. So basically what they're saying for this one, as far as I can understand it, mostly because it's what I figure it makes sense, is if you basically have two designs that you clearly just mush together, like very clearly, right? Or like, you obviously took like some features from one thing and then just tacked it onto another. It lacks individual character. So you've done nothing new. You've just combined two things that like are known and then just kind of jammed it together. It'd be, sort of like, I guess, to use kit bashing perspective, just chucking on one, like the top half of a Carnifex on the legs of a Hive Tyrant, right? It's just like, yes, you took two things that we know about and you just glued them together.
Add them together.
So, and again, that basically leads to a requirement that somebody needs to verify that nobody else has done this exact same thing, or that nobody else has done something similar. right? Or like, you're not just combining two things that people have seen. So,
Yeah.
So that means that if in situations where somebody has been like known to sell stuff, that constitutes as prior art. So in instances like that, you shouldn't be granting a patent for something like that, especially in these instances where like, things that are almost exactly one for one had been in the market. That being said, that we are in a very niche market, in a very niche community.
You're talking about
And
hobbying now? You're talking about like
yeah,
miniature stuff?
specifically about miniatures, right? And some of these tools that like, we see being sold by these third-party industries like Bees Putty and stuff for the original tentacle roller,
Yeah.
they're very esoteric, right?
Yeah.
And frankly, unless the person examining that patent happens to know about that, the likelihood of him finding some like small time little hobby shop like run by one dude in Germany,
Yeah.
in the amount of time he has to examine this patent is probably
Yeah.
very low. So it's very easy for people to go like, well, I knew about it, like this was being sold for ages.
Yeah.
Like why did it allow this when it was clearly sold? It's like, I mean, yeah, it was sold, yes, but would this person have been able to find it easily? And for stuff like this, for stuff like in our thing, and like this, more recently, the brush rinser that came about, the answer is probably it probably would not have been something that the European patent examiner or the American patent examiner or wherever would have probably found out about unless he happened to be like in this gaming community and happened to have seen it.
Yeah.
Because right, if it's a small time shop, how that like they don't have all of the time in the world to search. Like that's just not going to happen.
So could it be the case that Green Stuff World could be taking advantage of the fact that they are aware of like how this patent stuff works, and they're aware that like other small-time hobby people are not aware of how this patent stuff works, so they're just getting the jump on them because they know that the patent examiners are not going to go look for like esoteric hobby product whatever. So they're just like, hey, we can make a mint here because we know how to apply for these patents, and these other small-time dudes don't know how to apply for them, so they're just getting the jump on them.
So, not being there when these people filed the patents, I will make no statements regarding their intent. But
Of course.
the fact pattern that I'm noticing seems to suggest that they seem to be trying to aggressively file these things for products and then thereafter aggressively trying to
Defend them?
litigate people so that they corner the market for a certain thing that they may not, that the patent itself might not necessarily should maybe not have been granted depending on circumstances. But
And is it possible to prove that after the fact? But you have to, like, I guess you'd have to go through like legal proceedings. But if you were to enter into legal proceedings, could you be like, hey, look, this brush rinser is all over AliExpress? Like, would that be
yes,
considered
you
if it
can
was brought up in a
sue to
case?
invalidate it. I don't know the specific procedures in Europe. We do
Yeah.
have certain procedures. You can
In the
essentially
US?
counter sue essentially if you get like a C&D in the US to say that like, hey, like I know like they say that I'm infringing, but this patent wasn't valid to begin with.
Yeah.
So you can provide proof. But if you look through the history, I think Hellstorm talks about it with respect to the tentacle roll shaper and Bees Buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Step in.
Bees Putty's like one small dude, doesn't have his own company. He's just like
Right.
doing his own thing. Like
But
he doesn't necessarily have the resources to chase us legally.
right,
He-
which is actually
yeah.
what he said. He said basically that the legal costs of of fighting it would have been a lot higher than what he had made in a lifetime, throughout the entire time that he was selling that product. So like it was just for him, cost benefit analysis, just it didn't add up. It wasn't worth the legal battle because it is expensive and time consuming to draw this out. I think there was a second lawsuit involving like a stupid like leaf hole punch thing that the
Oh, that's
company.
PK Pro. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I forgot to mention PK Pro. PK Pro bought a made in China leaf punch that Green Stuff World was selling, and Green Stuff World came after them for it. It was bullshit that you could find on AliExpress, but same pattern.
Yeah. So
Aggressively defending this shit.
in that case, they did fight it, but I believe the conclusion
Oh,
that
okay.
they had was that they won the countersuit, but like I believe the commentary was that in the time it took to like litigate everything, they probably like the time span that they considered when the market was saturated with that product had already passed. So to a certain extent, it was like a Pyrrhic victory, right? Like they won, but it was just a huge
Green
waste
Stuff
of
World had
time and
already
money.
sold a bunch of them.
Well, Green Stuff World has sold enough, or enough people had already purchased it from whatever. So,
Yeah.
the fact pattern definitely suggests an overly aggressive usage, borderline abuse of the patent system, which technically it's their right, but at the same time, especially with how
Skeezy.
it seems like their fact pattern of know the timing of how they file the patents is
What do you
seems
mean by timing?
like they file it after this product has already been kind of in the market, or like immediately like after the product has hit the market, you know and the main thing is with patents is that it's it is largely a first to file kind of system, wherever you go. Uh,
Mhm.
but to a certain extent, like if it was publicly available, generally, uh, if somebody can find it, find proof of it, you're not going to get the patent for it. But the problem is again, we have a very, very niche, um, especially in terms of Green Stuff World. They operate in a very niche environment where
Yeah.
the time frame, the the likelihood of um, you know a patent examiner finding you know proof that like no, you didn't invent this is probably kind of low.
Mhm.
And then the amount of time and energy it would take for somebody to fight it once they start getting like C and D happy is
Mhm.
probably not worth the fight, um, which is admittedly an issue, a sort of issue with the with patent systems in general, but that's also kind of like you can't stop assholes from being assholes in the legal system.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not that you're wrong, you're just an asshole, right? Kind of situation.
Yeah.
Um, so that's essentially the gist of it. But yeah, so like that's the distinction of the like the different IP stuff and like what's going on. And again, this isn't a copyright issue. This is purely a very patent issue, and especially since, at least insofar as the brush rinser goes, like they basically submitted a design patent for specifically that exact design, with some very minor detail changes where they like put their own logo on and stuff. Um, but
And because the thing is being produced in China, being sold in China, the Chinese companies are not going to come after them. The Chinese companies are not worried about selling it into for having a patent to sell it to North America, they can just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not
Probably.
North America, Europe, but
Yeah. But again, if somebody in the States wants, I mean, somebody in the States probably isn't going to be able to get a design patent because the prior art is from anywhere. So, and especially with the internet now.
isn't that the same situation in Europe? Like, isn't that like shouldn't they
Yeah,
have just like used the internet and looked this thing up, but they
I
just
mean,
didn't bother?
but again, what's the likely, like, how you have to be able to sort of
Wait, but
text, like do a sort of Google query for this
yeah,
online, and you have to find the right words to find the exact
sorry. Let
same
me
look.
rephrase because you made it sound like this would never fly in the United States. They would find it.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm pretty sure if if they had done the same thing with that timing in the United States, they probably would also have granted it, just because like the likelihood of, again, it's esoteric. Like
Yeah.
the patent examiners are not going to have enough time to like search and scour the entire internet for this thing.
Yeah.
So if nobody else has, for the most part, if nobody else has filed a patent for it, and it's not like blatantly obvious, if you submit a design for a sneaker and I look at it, like this looks awfully like Air Jordans,
Yeah.
like, or kind of those kind of products, the likelihood of finding art to deny the patent's probably going to be low. And again, design patents especially are kind of specifically tied to, like, it has to look like the figures that they provide you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's inherently kind of specific. But
Okay.
yeah, but yeah,
Cool.
my main thing is folks need to kind of know that there's a big difference between copyright, patents, and trademarks. They are not interchangeable.
Okay. And folks need to know that this one company is, I'm going to say they sound like they're a bad actor. That's my personal opinion. I'm going to continue with my personal opinion that I do not support them. I encourage other people to not support them. There are other places to buy your tools, your paints, your green stuff. Because this is not the kind of thing that I personally want to support. Someone who like rolls up, takes on like little tiny hobbyists who are like, imagine you were like, you were someone who like designed this cool tool to do Warhammer miniature stuff, and you made it in your basement and you were selling it from your website, and then this fucking company comes along and goes, that's a cool idea, I'm gonna file a patent for it. And you're like, a what? A patent? I don't know anything about patents. And then they like just take it right out from under you. Like, how would you feel? Like, this is what this company has done repeatedly.
Allegedly.
And whatever. This is what the community has reported this company doing numerous times. Our community has reported it. So yeah, I don't want to support them, and I don't think anyone else should either. That's my opinion. And yeah,
What
if
it
you don't,
reminds me of,
what's that?
Our other favorite company and how they used to act around their IP.
Oh
Spiky
yeah.
Bits?
No.
Games Workshop?
Oh yeah.
Games Workshop used to be extremely draconian when it came to. They were so draconian
Well,
with
they still
enforcing
are,
their own
dude. Like
trademark.
all the like 3D like printing stuff, they're going after that.
Oh yeah,
Well,
but I mean,
But
they used to
that
be
is kind
so
of clear
draconian
copying.
that they went after people for shit they didn't even own.
yeah, that
Oh yeah, Space Marines.
they were specifically going after a lot of trademark stuff. At least in terms of like anybody using the term like Space Marines or whatever. And part of the reason, my supposition here, why they renamed everything kind of weird, like Primaris, the Adeptus Astartes as opposed to Space Marines, or
Yeah.
came up with all the new names for everybody like Eldari and Drukari, is because everything else that they had like tried to trademark is like, I think over like got quickly, like as soon as somebody's like, yo, this stuff is like really like these are kind of like known and previously used things, like
Generic.
you like Space Marines has been in the common parlance for a while. You can't trademark that and stuff. So part of the reason why they've renamed everything, from what I
Yeah.
can gather, is to have a tighter control on their intellectual property naming and stuff.
Yeah. And like you can see it right down to the paints. That the paints used to have kind of like generic names, and now they
Scabra.
have like very like
Well, I think
all of them are IP names.
Well, I think they also had some issues with. I think they had whoever had the. I remember there's some rights to the names and stuff of the paints that they for the original paint company that was making it. And like whoever had signed the original contract or whatever had like really flubbed it up or something, so that like the rights
Oh,
got
I didn't hear
retained.
that. That's interesting.
That's what I remember hearing. I could be misremembering it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Dwarfenage wanted to jump in here. Is Dwarfenage still here? Because
Yeah,
he
he's still
said that
here.
he had some
You-
experience with
Something.
something that we were talking about. That was a little while back, but
Yeah, so I just want to make sure my mic was good because I jumped in and I forgot to mute my thing. Cool.
now it's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I used to work for a big
Box
construction.
sending company.
No,
Oh
no,
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 sorry.
not that
Okay,
one, not
sorry,
that one.
not that one. Okay, not that one.
So I worked for. No, I was gonna say like specifically. I was trying to like do the. Anyway, they made
Yeah, do it.
industrial equipment. So like it was Caterpillar. So they
Yeah.
were like one of the leading American manufacturers in creating like tractors, bulldozers, and what have you, like very large industrial equipment. I worked specifically in an engine manufacturing company, and it was widely known, like while that I was working there, that they had a gentleman come in work as an engineer, and then he worked there for about 6 months, left, and stole a ton of engineering schematics and sold them to Chinese manufacturers.
Oh geez.
Wow.
Because he was actually like a spy planted from Chinese manufacturers. And then those same manufacturers went and outcompeted with us and made a better engine.
Wow.
That's just my 2 cents.
Sketchy.
Huh.
Hot.
That's interesting because how like I don't know. How do you
Corporate
work?
Well, there's been a lot of
espionage, man.
stories of this, right?
Corporate espionage is a
been-
real thing, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like China is famous for it. Like this has been I've been hearing a lot about this. Shut him up.
I mean, I've literally seen someone, a Chinese person, walk through our supermarket taking pictures. It was the strangest thing I ever seen.
Weird.
Someone
Well, okay.
walking
Like, are you sure
through.
that they weren't just like they were taking lots of
Yeah.
pictures? It wasn't just okay.
Yeah, he was having his phone out and he took pictures how everything is set up and stuff like that. He was.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't like he takes a selfie of himself. No, he was holding the phone up into the air, and so he gets a real aerial view of the arrangement, how the the frozen section was arranged and stuff like that. I mean, he wasn't taking picture of someone; he was really taking picture of the store.
Well,
it
could
was
have just,
strange.
been a supermarket fan, or you're right, he could be doing a corporate espionage. Who knows?
Yeah, it was the strangest thing I ever seen in my life.
Listen. I live in a country where milk comes in bags. People often take pictures of our freezer section because they're like, "Why is the milk in bags?
Yeah,
What is this?"
but he didn't take pictures of a product,
Okay.
he also turned around and took several more pictures. I mean, he was doing a
Okay.
360 type of thing, so that he would get the entire storeroom. That was strange.
Fancy.
That's because it was so alien and strange for someone to do
Yeah.
that. It's still in my mind.
Well, Will, thank you for
That was
doing
very
such a deep dive on this. I found it very interesting. Hope other folks found it interesting. Yeah, if you're like, oh man, the scales have been, what is it? The scales have dropped from my eyes. What, I don't even know what the hell the saying is. What the heck am I gonna do now? Where am I gonna get cool stuff that isn't Green Stuff World? I hear PK Pro is pretty cool. we have no relationship with them other than the fact that Simon Hydra is starting a gaming club at his school, and he just like called up PK Pro and was like, "Hey, I want to do cool miniature stuff with kids." And PK Pro was like, "Yeah, we'll give you stuff for free." So that's kind of classy. So they're in the EU. They sell green stuff. They sell cool razor saws. I've got a razor saw of theirs. So that's one retailer. If you're anywhere else in the world, check out what's it called? Gale Force 9. They've been really good to me. I like was looking for green stuff retailers in my area, and I went on their website. They had like a whole listing. I emailed them. They emailed me back. They went so far as to like restock my friendly local gaming store because I'm like, yeah, they don't have any green stuff. They're like, oh, well, we'll make sure we get them some. So yeah, they're pretty cool. So Gale Force 9 is someone you can check out. They have retailers, I think, in the UK and North America, probably some other places. I mean, I've heard of SYL Create in Europe. Don't order them to Germany. Symbio Joe just ordered Sil Create to Germany, and apparently there was a mitt full of shipping costs and duty costs on it. But
Oh dear.
I'm sure there's plenty of places to get green stuff in the UK. It's where miniature gaming like was born. But I don't know. And then
Sure.
in North America, go with our boy Rich at Green Stuff Industries. He donated the tentacle rollers for the tentacle roller giveaway I had a little while back. He's a nice guy. He sells green stuff in tubes or tape, whatever you want.
Oh, by the way,
I
as an important point, the specific design patent that Green Stuff World had for the tentacle roller has expired and lapsed, so they don't actually have any legal protections over that anymore. So I'm not
damn.
saying
Let's rock.
that people should just print out or just make their own tentacle rollers, but I'm
Let's
saying that
rock.
But
you're
do that.
probably not going to be like getting a C and D because as far as I can tell, and you can check the EPO registry about it, that I don't believe that design patent is still active. So
Can they refresh it very easily, or how does that work?
you
Like
get
if I
them,
went out and
you
started
buy
doing
them.
tentacle rollers tomorrow, like could they just like swoop right in and be like,
No,
"Nah."
you buy. You can get the protections for up to some amount of years, and like you kind of at least in the U.S. you can refresh your patents in like chunks of like 5-7 years.
Yeah.
So every like 5-7 years you have to renew it to like maintain it up until like the maximum. But if you let
Yeah.
it lapse, public domain.
Oh. Somebody tell Beast Putty Stefan.
I'm not exactly happy with him right now, so.
Hey, listen, he's getting you your stuff, man. It took some big hobby wang shaken by me, but he's getting you your stuff. Let's see if it shows up. I'm actually curious. Did you get his sculpting tools? Because I'm really curious about those.
I did not. I only ordered 2 things with the sculpted. But for anybody watching that doesn't have the background, I ordered for Beast Putty back in March, and the package is still not here. And he's been ghosting me in communications and stuff. So, but he finally got me a tracking number, so it should be here soon.
Groovy. Can't wait to hear what you think.
Maybe it's supply chain. Supply chain.
Well, the dick thing is when someone's ghosting you and they're still posting on their social all the time. Like,
Yep.
I did a thing with this artist, Japanese pottery artist here in Toronto, who does kintsugi, like where you repair things with gold.
Oh yeah.
And I gave him one of my favorite mugs to repair, and he's like, "Yeah, it'll be ready in a year." In a year, I keep messaging him, no response. And like, fair, the thing's broken. He's basically got junk of mine, but I'm looking forward to that junk being usable again. So I don't know.
It
Anyway,
takes
that's
2
neither here
seconds
nor
to
there.
send an email. I'll
You haven't-
never accept the excuse. Oh, I've been super busy, bro. It takes literally 5 minutes to send an update.
Yeah, tell me you're
5 minutes
busy in
of
an
your
email.
day. You can do it while you're sitting on the toilet. Like literally, not an excuse.
Send me a poopy email.
Yes, a poopy email is better than no email.
Okay, is anything happening in the chat? Has the chat gone to sleep?
Chat has
Because
gone
they're
to
not as
sleep.
interested in this stuff as we are.
aside from Era, who said
Welcome.
I rather know
ahead.
the facts than hearsay before I pass judgment on whether or not I support Green Stuff World. And it's
We got facts, buddy. I wouldn't call this hearsay.
Well, the
been-
litigation cycle is definitely facts. Whether or not everything was done with
Malicious
ulterior
intent. Yeah.
Yeah,
malicious
whether it was
intent.
malice or just idiocy, but there's a pattern of, if it's just idiocy, there's a pattern of idiocy here. Pattern of coincidence.
Yeah,
Too many
it's
coincidences.
it's not an opinion that they sent a channel strike to a YouTuber who was reviewing another company's
Company's
product because
paints.
they had
Yeah.
beef with that company. Like
Yeah,
they
you can watch
literally
that video,
went
man. She's still got it up.
They literally
again-
went after a YouTuber who had absolutely no contact with them.
Also, it was for completely they didn't have a copyright on like the term color shift. So like they did a copyright.
Did they have a
strike
design
on
patent?
No, it was purely a
trademark.
trademark thing. Like
Oh, okay.
so like they could make an argument that there's like that that content has trademark issues, some whatever, but they specifically did a copyright strike on her on that, which is like, you have no copyrights on this. Like that was a just bullying tactic right there, just because like she happened to be reviewing something that I guess was infringing on a trademark of theirs, which
admittedly, I believe that was around the time. I'm not even sure if it's possible right now to send something about a trademark infringement via YouTube. That's not a copyright thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think mostly because like it's not a trademark infringement. She's not selling anything other that guy. She's literally doing a review. So like it shouldn't have been a copyright strike or trademark strike because she's not the one selling it. As far as I'm aware. So like she was not at fault in any way, shape, or form. Like
I mean,
anything would have been on Vallejo, which they did go to court over.
I mean, another important component of this is that hasn't been talked about is YouTube is absolutely useless when it comes to actually looking into any of these situations.
Oh yeah, they just definitely
fun fact.
They're trigger happy.
So I have a little piece of music that I use on all my How to Sculpt videos. It's a piece of music that was recorded by Bits a Box, a good buddy of mine from a long time ago. I have asked him if I can pay him for it. He's like, oh no, you can just use it, whatever. Every time I upload that video, I get is it a grace note? I don't know. I get some kind of strike. It's not a copyright strike, but I get some kind of warning that video can't be monetized because of this track. Every time I do it, I dispute it. Every time it's withdrawn. Every time I upload a video with the same track, I get the same thing again because it's all automated.
Yep.
And I always like send them like annoyed messages being like, what process can I do to like fix this so it doesn't happen again? Nothing.
Oh yeah, no, YouTube's notorious about this.
Yeah, and your channel is way too small.
Yes, of course.
Once you have 7 million subscribers, something like that, maybe you get to talk to someone.
Yeah, true.
Should start
And
making.
even that probably won't be on your side.
Just Arath, these are bare facts. There's been many bare facts. If you're just feeling annoyed that you have to find a new retailer to get your stuff from because these guys are jerk faces, like okay. But I would highly recommend you do because they are definitely jerk faces. They've been jerk faces over and over again to many different people from many different angles. They're only in it for the cash. They're only in it to protect, like, get ideas and then like grab them and like hold them down so that they can make the money off of it. Like they're not happy, supportive community members.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, like, I mean, I do think that these kind of actions, this kind of corporate douchebaggery is very reprehensible. But at the end of the day, like, to me, that's just, that's, I mean, and maybe this is just the American in me, but that companies are a dime a dozen in terms of being corporate douchebags and using legal loopholes to do shitty things to smaller retailers. Like, I mean, big companies like Amazon and tons of bigger companies have always been using this kind of stuff to step on the little guy. But for me, the biggest thing that really irritated me about Green Stuff World, and the biggest shitty thing I think they've done is what they did to that one artist, that they were just using his artistry as box art and then not giving him credit, not giving him any kind of financial compensation, and only fixing it when the entire community rallied around that guy, and then they acted
Yeah,
like
and
it
like
was no big deal.
you know what they did? They gave that guy money, but then there was another artist whose art they were using. They didn't give him any money. Like, he
Yep.
reached out to me. He's like, they're using my art on their website right now. As they're like posting and being like, oh yeah, we've got it all figured out with this guy. This other artist is like, what the heck? You've still got my art up on your website. You never asked me.
Yep.
So yeah, they're a mess. Like, we hear it from a bunch of people over and over again. Like, what more proof do you need that you should not be shopping at Green Stuff World? I get it. It's convenient. One place, they have all this stuff. But, like, where you spend your money matters. Like, that's the only vote you get. As, like, a little hobbyist. Yeah, oh, my $25, my $30, my $100. What difference is it going to make? I might as well just do it anyway. No, man. You gotta, like, I don't know. You gotta spend money where you want to spend money.
Hey, Mr.
I think
Pink,
that's important. Yeah, sorry.
you're out of focus. You're off center.
Oh, jeez. Thanks. I'm getting so riled up, you know?
Oh, I just realized that my camera hasn't been on the stream the whole time.
Oh, that's okay. We're trying something new. We listened to Dwarfenage. We didn't put the chat up. And I don't see people rebelling yet. Maybe they'll get mad in the comments. If you're watching this after the fact and you really miss the fact that we don't have the chat on the screen, post a comment on it and let us know, because otherwise maybe we're going to continue to leave the comments off so we have more room. Or if you appreciate not having the chat up and having like bigger views of me sculpting completely off screen, you can put that in the comments as well. And let us know what you've thought about this. Actually, if you're live in the chat right now, let us know what you thought about Will's talk. Did you find this interesting? Was this helpful? Do you have recommendations for other cool retailers to support that are a little better for the community than Green Stuff World? My recommendation is Green Stuff Industries, Rich in North America. Go give him some business. Yeah, share that in the chat as well, or in the comments.
With this.
Oh. Anyway. How have you been working on stuff? How's the talent horror coming along?
Oh, it's
Rough
going.
up.
I'm sculpting some gribbly, fleshy bits, and I did it on one side, and I'm happy with it. But now I'm doing it on the other side, and I don't like how it looks, so I'm just smushing it and doing it.
Oh, that's
over.
always the worst. So I sculpted some tail armor on this. Definitely not the Red Tear. It's okay. It's not amazing, but it's done. I want to get them done.
Sound like
So-
Frankendoodle. Just post like this, like expertly sculpted.
No, this is not expert.
It's just like
Let me.
oh, this is not my best work.
I've never.
Mona
Yeah,
Lisa, not my best
Listen,
work.
Frankie is a bit ridiculous, but let me give you a close up. Well, if it would ever focus, a close up view on how not amazing this is.
I think it looks cool.
I think it looks pretty
better
solid.
than I'm looking at the plates on my Talon Horror and comparing it to that. And I'm like, why do I even bother?
This ink is glossy.
Oh, come on. Anyway, this tail's bothering me because it's like too thin at one point, and I want to make it thicker, and I don't know. I think it's just going to be a constant game of thickening and thinning the tail. It's pretty good.
I like 'em
It's
thin.
decent. Huh?
Believe-
I like
that's how
'em
the
thick.
that's how the kids say it these days, right? It's dece.
Dece.
These-
Dece
No,
nuts?
no.
Yeah,
That's not the
got
kid.
it.
That's like
Jacob
50-year-olds
is the
love
kid.
that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I say that stupid shit. That's not what the kids say.
Like when I've worked with a wide variety of people, and the only people I know that really enjoy saying like these nuts are like 50, 60.
You hear 50, 60-year-olds saying D's nuts? That's impressive.
Yeah, they think it's hilarious.
Cool. I didn't think it was in their lexicon.
Look, if somebody doesn't find that hilarious, and with the following "got him" like meme, like I just don't know.
They're no friend of mine. Are you guys going to SockCon?
What
You going to SockCon?
is a thing?
Sock on? What's sock on?
It's next to Bofa.
Oh no.
Yeah, I heard
I have no
Imagine
idea what's
Dragons
going
gonna
on.
be there.
Oh, okay. Well, let's finish it for.
We're being childish. We're being so childish.
Yeah, you are being childish. I'm feeling like an old man.
No, it's all D's nuts. It's all D's nuts jokes.
SockCon.
Oh God.
Okay. All right. Maybe we should wrap it up there. Oh, what the heck did I do? Oh my God, I screwed up our thing.
Oh God, I
did
really
I
gotta
screw that
stop
up?
laughing at this stuff.
Oh,
Only work in
I
progress,
changed the.
Wednesday.
Oh, I broke the thing.
Oh no.
I had our cute little chat box that showed when everyone's talking, and then like I lost sight of it because I was busy sculpting, and
Oh.
then
That crew guy. I
Yeah,
think you're just in the wrong channel.
yeah, I'm back now.
it broke when Dwarven Age joined.
Way to go.
I broke it when
Way
you
to
sent me
go.
the message saying Dwarfenage wants to join, and I was like, oh, I gotta go find Kajan's message. And
Yeah,
then I broke it.
because he asked in the chat, and I didn't want to stop interrupt Wilt just to ask.
Oh,
well, thanks.
That kind of reminds me. I did want to make one additional general IP note. Mostly because I see it very frequently. This IP myth that's very frequently repeated, and that myth is it's legal if you make your own copy and you're not selling it.
Yep.
That is not actually a legal standard. That is the hobby equivalent, the patent copyright equivalent of if you're a cop legally, you have to tell me. Like that is based on no actual real legal thing. It's still copyright infringement.
You gotta tell me if you're a cop.
Still copyright infringement or trademark infringement or patent infringement, even if you're doing it in the privacy of your own home.
You're that storyboard guy.
You're just not likely to get caught.
I feel like
you're not publicizing it.
we've bullied Aaron about this a lot. Like I think
Yeah,
we need to
yeah, we
stop
do.
beating him up about it.
Okay.
I don't bully
good.
him at all about it. That's your guys doing it, and I'm the IP dude.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. All right.
Just please everybody.
Yeah, don't tell
spread
your
that.
friends that. That's
Don't spread that. If you see somebody
You have to tell me if you're a cop. I love it.
But yeah, I see it very frequently everywhere, and it's just like, oh God, that's so incorrect.
Well,
like,
I see people posting like their green stuff molds and stuff, and like I no judgment. Like, man, you don't want to spend another $70 on a kit for a specific bit, and you just want to copy the bit. Like, whatever, man. I'm not gonna fucking send a letter to GW, but let's not pretend that what you're doing is legally sound.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not gonna narc on you, but I would, in a non-attorney position, recommend that you don't publish these things. Make it publicly available that you're doing it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as
give
it's
people
painted, no one's gonna
evidence.
know.
Exactly.
What?
As soon as it's painted, no one's gonna know.
Exactly.
That's
You
why
do a
you
good job
use the
casting.
grayscale filter so that you can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen. Every time you're on hobby, whatever, and you see a grayscale model, someone casts the crap out of it. Oh, I'm just doing it so that the green stuff matches with everything and you can see it all in one. Yeah, okay, we know what you're doing.
Oh, I just do it to be edgy.
Listen. Sometimes it's because you bought ChinaCast without realizing it's ChinaCast. I have the story. I bought 2 Turvagons. They seemed very cheap. And then when they got to me, I realized why they were cheap.
Have you done anything with the ChinaCast Trigon I gave you?
No, that thing looks so good. I'm just going to build it as a Trigon.
That's kind of what I was gonna do with it, but then I have this weird conniption about ChinaCast.
You have a purity thing. You can you shall not touch anything but the most beautiful of Forge World resin.
Yes.
No, I love that Trigon. I'm gonna have to build it someday and paint it. I was a bit intimidated till I had to paint the Screamer Killer, which is the biggest thing I've ever painted, and it wasn't so bad.
I just remember hearing that the quality level, production quality control of the China Forge stuff tends to be higher than actual Forge World stuff, which amuses me
Not
greatly.
mine, let me tell you. My stuff, like, I don't think it even cured. These Turbogons I got, every time I cut into one of those things, it stank.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah, you even showed
That's how
it
I
on.
knew. That's how I knew the Trigon wasn't real. Was it?
Oh,
It
really?
smells horrific when you cut into it.
Oh, I haven't cut
Smells
into
like
it yet. Okay.
chemicals. I could feel brain
the-
cells dying as I was cutting
So-
into that model.
Did they just like
I got
mess
rid of one
up
of mine
the-
and sent it to Moloch. What?
Did they just like mess up the like ratio of like parts for like the resin?
Maybe.
Because it's not like
Maybe.
it's not like a UV cured thing where it's like, oh, the interior, like the deep interior of this model didn't get enough UV, so it didn't cure. It's just like it's supposed to be something that just cures over time.
No, I'm pretty sure they just harvested the resin from the bottle of a radioactive waste dump container.
Look, if you have all of this free Chernobyl, like resin lying around,
Okay. Dave Pikey, last chance. Thanks for commenting, saying this is fun to listen to while I'm preparing one of my entries for Best of the West painting competition this weekend in Vegas. Good luck with your painting competition. If you're still here, let us know what you're painting. Kajan, thank you for plugging my Patreon. If you like what we're doing here and you want to support me on Patreon, I am still giving out Hot Bug Summer stickers. Do I have it in here? I gotta have it in here.
They're super cool.
Here we go. Boom! I'm still giving out Hot Bug Summer stickers. They're only going to Patreon supporters. You don't have to give me anything more than $1, and I'll send you one. However, I got them done locally, and then I since discovered that like the quality of the stickers from the local place is not amazing. They're already rubbing off my my water bottle here, which is not great.
Dear.
This is the 5th member here, and the Screamer Killer. They're getting like real crappy. Anyway, so I wasn't happy with that. So the next batch of Hot Bug Summer stickers is coming from Sticker App in Denmark or something, because they always give me good stuff.
Mr. Pink, your Hot
Yeah.
Bug Summer sticker covered the stickers you wanted to show.
No, it's fine. I saw that it was just on the side. So yeah, the next batch of these is going to be really hot, and it's going to be from Sticker App because they're awesome. And yeah, but the problem is that Canada Post sucks. So they delivered them to my house, and I wasn't here, and then they sent them back to Denmark. And I'm like, damn it!
Wow.
So now I need another batch. Another batch is coming to me. But yeah, so they're still available. If you want one, you can sign up for the Patreon. Kajan put the link to the Patreon in the comments here. It's just Modern Synthesist. You can just go to Patreon and search Modern Synthesist. Or go to patreon.com/Modern Synthesist. Just make sure you put a T on the end. Modern Synthesist. But yeah, so there's that. Please like and subscribe to like this video. Leave us a comment. Subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a lot of hot bug videos coming out soon. Isn't that right, Dwarfenage?
Could be.
Could be. Might be happening.
I like the confidence.
I'm confident. Yeah, and like we do these streams every other week, so we alternate. On Wednesdays we do Work in Progress Wednesday, and then the weeks when we don't do that, we do Creature Conference on the Friday. Try to get High Fleet and the Lock on here, Hydra, and Flinthammer. So you can look forward to that next Friday. Although I've got a work thing, we might have to move it to Saturday. We'll see. But yeah, and you can look forward to the next Work in Progress Wednesday in 2 weeks' time on Wednesday night, when all these lovely folks will come back and we'll talk about something else. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned some stuff about copyright, trademark, IP, all that stuff.
So sorry that I talked about intellectual property.
Dude, listen, I enjoyed it, and that's all that matters. And now people can, I don't know, they can have learned something. And if you learn nothing else, you should just learn that you shouldn't support Green Stuff World, because they're sketchy mofos. That's my opinion. I'm not going near them. Yeah. And there's plenty of other cool companies to support. So if you know of some cool companies to support, you can share them, I guess, in the comments. I don't know. But I probably have to call it there. So everybody want to say goodnight?
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Kajan. Good night, Will. Good night, Darth Bob. Good night, Dwarfenage.
Good night,
Good
Mr.
night.
Pink.
Thank you. Oh, Tarath is saying thanks for the awesome stream. Felt like being in uni, except fun. There you go, Will. It was fun.
I don't remember when I was in
has-
college.
That has never been said about intellectual property in
Oh,
the history of
Tarath,
life.
Sarah also.
Tarath, we missed this. Wait. Tarath also commented, Will's talks is great. I used to work in legal realm, and great to have a micro lecture from an expert while watching some sick sculpting. There you go.
Good job, Will.
Yeah.
Woo.
Good work.
You done good.
Okay. Let's say goodnight, and we'll do this again very soon. I hope you all have a safe week. I hope you all have a productive week, and you have some cool ideas.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Hell yeah.
Paint some ghosts.
Hey. Make some ghosts?
Paint some ghosts.
Paint some ghosts, friends. And we'll talk to you soon.